This is easy. This will be less painful than the IRS.
Oh, you think so? Oh, I don't know.
Listen, today is February 7th, Thursday, 2013. We're here with Miss Betty Jane McBay as part of the Social Justice Institute Oral Life Narrative, Case Western Reserve.
Mm-hmm.
They got to make sure they get all of the supporters or people responsible for this into the recording. I am Brandon King, and I'm here with Lady Red, also known as Jenny Joy. Okay, we'd like to thank you for participating in our oral life narrative, and we'd like to begin by asking you general background questions, your name.
Mm-hmm. I'm Betty Jane McBay.
Okay. Would you like to tell us anything about your family?
I'm the youngest of 4 siblings. I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. I had 2 brothers, and I have 1 sister. My oldest brother was born in Athens, Georgia. He came to Cleveland when he was about 9 months old. My other brother was born in Cleveland. Also, my sister was born in Cleveland.
Okay, so you say basically you're telling me your family's from Athens, Georgia?
Athens, Georgia.
Athens,
Yeah.
Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
You were born here.
Yes, I was.
Do you know anything about Athens, Georgia? Have you visited?
Oh, quite
Except for they tell you
frequently, yes.
a lot of stories about it.
Oh, well, it had a lot of red dirt. Let's put it, a lot of red dirt, and just, I imagine, just an average country town.
Okay.
I still have an aunt that's living there now. She's 94 years old,
Wow.
and she was a coach at a high school, and she has they named a gymnasium after her. Her name is Elizabeth King.
Beautiful last name,
Yes.
if I may say so myself. So, Miss McBay, are you from a large family?
Four, 3 siblings. Yeah, it was mother and father and 4 children.
Sounds like you have a pretty big family back in Georgia.
Not, not really, not in Georgia. I have family here.
Uh-huh.
My brother, my oldest brother had 1 child. My youngest brother had, let's see, 7 children. My sister had 4 children. And they in turn have children. So it's 3 times removed. I'm an aunt, a great great aunt.
Great, great aunt.
Yes.
Okay, well, good deal.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds pretty exciting. Your one family member has a street named after her. That's
Yeah,
pretty.
not a street, a
Gymnasium.
gymnasium. Gymnasium,
Gymnasium.
Yes.
Now, you say your family came from Georgia to Cleveland.
Yes.
And you were actually born in Cleveland.
I was born in Cleveland, yes.
Can you tell us what life was like when you were growing up in Cleveland?
It was fun for me.
Where about Cleveland?
What about Cleveland?
Where about?
Where I was born on 70th and between Central and Cedar, and I lived. We moved all around Cleveland, but I lived on 69th Street. We were neighbors to the former mayor, Carl Stokes, and Louis Stokes was my brother's best friend on 69th Street. And it was really fun. We had we had a lot to do. We, played around and we just had a lot to do to have fun.
Sounds good.
Hmm.
Can you tell us about your coming into East Cleveland? Or can you tell us what life was like when you were little growing up in Cleveland, what life was like in East Cleveland? Or were the two separate?
Mm, not much difference, I don't think.
So growing up, did you venture into East Cleveland at all?
No, never did.
Okay.
Only coming through to pick my mother up from her work. And as I said, she worked for people that lived on Shaw and Hayden.
She was a domestic.
Domestic, yes. Hmm.
And you were driving? Good
No,
deal.
no, no. I wasn't driving.
Uh-huh.
My father was driving.
Ah,
Yes.
okay. Can you describe or tell us a little bit about East Cleveland as a child when you're coming down here to pick up your mother? How did you feel about East Cleveland?
Well, it was like the Heights, like Shaker Heights. It was nice. And, but just driving through, you don't get much. You don't see much just driving through. But I do remember coming down Euclid Avenue, and I think what is now Boyd's used to be called the Plantation. It was a restaurant or something like that.
Boy's Funeral Home?
Boyd's Funeral Home. Now, very few people remember that.
Hmm. Was a restaurant.
It was a restaurant or a hotel or something, but it wasn't a funeral home.
What year would you say this was?
Let's see, I had to been about 18 or 19 years old. I'm 84 now, so let's see. You do the math.
Do the math.
Yeah.
You know, what year were you born?
I was born in 1928.
1928. Driving down Euclid to pick up your mom.
Yes.
That must have been pretty.
No, we weren't driving down Euclid to pick her up at that time. We were driving down Euclid going to um, um, New York. We were going to Canada, and we were hitting Buffalo, New York, and then going over to Canada.
Okay. Okay. It had to be a pretty nice drive.
Yeah, it was. The people for whom my mother worked had an island up in Canada, and she would go up every summer, spend the summer there. And when I was home, then was able to go up.
That's pretty exciting. So
Yeah,
your mother was a domestic, and the people she took care of would take your mother and her family to New York or to Canada?
just me.
Just
Yeah,
you?
because I
A
was the only
special
one
job?
left. No, I was the only one left at home. That's why.
Okay. That had to be nice. What
It,
was
it
that
was.
like?
Oh, it was fun. They owned an island up there in Ojibwe Island, up there in that Toronto, and it was a lot of fishing, and boating, and just relaxing,
Wow.
and hunting, not hunting, but picking blueberries. The place was all full of blueberries.
How many of your friends were picking blueberries?
Huh?
How many of your friends were...
None. I was the only one up there.
Uh-huh.
Only I was the only one. but the family had 4 children, so I was more or less, a companion to them.
Yeah, you must have had some good stories to tell your high school buddies or your
Oh,
neighbors on your street about picking
yeah.
blueberries.
Well, no, not really.
So how
Yeah,
long
but
did your mother work for
oh,
this family?
let's see. Oh, I can't. Oh, let's see. I I think the fellow died in 1959. The the father died in 1959, and she worked for them even after he passed. I, I'd say at least 15 to 20 years.
Okay. Can you tell us about this family, other than that they had an island?
They were millionaires, and they were. He was let's say a lithographer, a printer. He printed book uh, bank books and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay.
You want the name?
Well, if you only what you feel
Oh,
comfortable sharing with us. I
oh, okay.
don't want to necessarily force anything out of you,
Uh,
but I am interested in to
yeah,
know
yeah. Well,
uh,
um,
in his nationality.
yeah. His name was William Paul. Well, just William P. X line. X line.
And I'm assuming he was a Caucasian.
Yes.
East Cleveland at that time was pretty much predominantly, or how
Well,
much?
he didn't. He lived in Shaker. He lived on Coventry Road.
Okay.
They lived on Coventry Road. But the family that my mother, that my father picked my mother up from was the Burns family on Shaw and Hayden. Burns, Burns, and they had 4 children. Also, they attended Shaw High School, and I can remember Shaw had the dress code, and you know, um, when the kids got when the Burns got through with their, clothing, they gave them to my mother, and we were able, to wear them.
Okay. Okay.
That
So that I have this correct, Williams is the family you went up to New York or Canada with.
Canada with, yes.
Okay, but your mother was domestic for the Burns.
Burns, let's see, she had about 4 or 5 families that she went to.
Oh, okay. So they okay. Okay.
She had about 4 or 5 families.
Excellent.
Hmm.
Excellent. And your father?
He was a he was a baker, but that was his trade. But he worked in a foundry, and he also worked for the X Lines for a few minutes too. Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Well, I know it's kind of hard to think back as you were a child visiting some of the families that your mother worked with
Mm-hmm.
and going to New York and probably absorbed most of your memory. Is there anything you can tell us about East Cleveland? I know you mentioned Shaw
Uh,
had a dress code.
yeah.
Is there anything else you can tell us about East Cleveland? Look like
Oh,
Shaker.
well, they had on let's see, Hayden and 133rd. They had Bondi's Bondi's grocery store. Across the street from that was a meat market. There was a drugstore on Hayden, and a bakery and a fish market.
Sounds like
They,
you had a lot of things going on.
they didn't. No, I must say now. I don't remember too much about that. That Well, I lived on 133rd Street and I worked downtown, so I always went St. Clair way instead of going, coming over to Euclid, coming this way. So I didn't know too much about Shaw and Hayden at that time, but I know those stores are around and what have you.
Okay. You could tell the city was vibrant. It had a
Oh
lot of
yes, it
shops, a
was a
lot of
lot of
businesses.
yes,
Okay.
mm,
Now, you said you moved around a lot. At,
yes,
at any point did you actually move into East Cleveland?
no, never.
Okay.
I moved in East Cleveland in 1967.
Okay, 1967 you moved
Yeah,
into East Cleveland.
February of 1967.
And what, may I ask, brought you to East Cleveland?
My husband. Yeah, well,
You want to tell us about your husband?
oh, he was a dapper,
Dapper Dan.
dapper dad. Yeah. He was a school teacher, and then he was a metropolitan insurance agent. That's where he retired from.
Okay. And
But he was from Texas. Waxahachie, Waxahachie, Texas.
well, I never heard of
Do
it.
you?
Had you heard of it?
No, never, never.
Oh, good
No.
deal. Good deal. Now, moving into East Cleveland was your first house as a family?
First house, uh, as a family, my husband and me.
Yes.
No, that was the third house
Okay.
that we lived in.
Why East Cleveland, may I ask?
That's what he chose. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was his choice.
Okay. Okay.
I never dreamed that I would be over this far. Over this far. Yeah.
But growing up, it sounded like you kind of looked up to East Cleveland, like it was the Heights. And
Yeah, well, right.
it'd be a
That's where
nice
where
place
my
to live.
where my mother worked, and and they had funds, money. So, yeah, it was. But I never. It was just another place. But I never dreamed that I would ever be, in East Cleveland. When people said East Cleveland, it was like Shaker and all those places.
So when you moved into East Cleveland,
Mm.
I mean, how did that make you feel? Thinking of it as the Heights, did you feel like, hey, I'm moving?
Up in the world, moving to the yeah,
George Jefferson.
yeah, right. Well, yes, I imagine so. As I said, I never thought I would ever be over, be in East Cleveland. Well, in fact, it never really, I never really fathomed, moving over here.
And
It,
so 1967 it happened. Where did you
mm,
move to?
hmm?
Where did you move to in East Cleveland? Where was this?
133rd Street.
133rd.
That's off Shaw.
Is there? Can you tell us what 133rd was like in 1967?
Well, let's put it this way. It was a heck of a lot different than what it is
I
today.
can imagine.
It was, I think there were only, we were the only, we, there were, I think there was only one other colored family that lived, on that street. Of course, it's a short, it was from Gainesboro to Shaw. And that's not too many houses, but most of the people were Caucasians.
Okay. And how did they relate to you? How was the neighborly interaction?
They were good. My best friends were Caucasians. On each side of me were Caucasians. And, well, I've been around Caucasians quite a bit, so, it was not a big deal.
They could relate to picking blueberries.
Well, I imagine they could.
Now, so you were married. How long were you married?
17 years.
17 years.
Hmm.
Any children?
No.
Okay. Now you got along just fine with your neighbors, and you could, because you were pretty much engulfed in dealing with different races growing up.
Right.
So,
Hmm.
but what were relations like with, say, your neighbors and other colored or other people who didn't actually look like them, if you can remember?
I mean, I've gotten along with everybody. Just you know, I guess I don't know. I guess I got along with everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not too outgoing, but you know, I seem to, have a impact on people.
That's a good way to put it. I'm going to go to the script here.
Mm.
Can you think back to your earliest memories of East Cleveland and tell us what was life like then? I know we've talked about that here now,
Hmm.
but what was life like in East Cleveland?
Oh, it was nice. It. Mm, well, the people were, were friendly, and everybody got along okay, and I don't know.
How did the streets look? How did the
Oh, oh,
grass
oh,
look? How did the
oh.
trees look?
Well, oh, fine. I had all types of trees in the yard, grass growing everywhere. Yeah, it was, nice and fertile and green, and the streets were nice. But I must say, when I first moved into East Cleveland, they had just had that riot, the Huff riot, and there were, what you call it, National Guards walking down my street with rifles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that had to be a pretty scary thing.
yeah, that was.
Wow, that
Hmm.
was
Yeah,
68, right?
about, yeah, well, no,
65. It was
about 67. Because,
67.
yeah, it had to been about 67. Because, as I said, we moved in 67. And see, they were, as I said, they were doing that on the streets then. So it must have been 67 that they had that riot. Because, Shaw goes into 125th
Mm-hmm.
in St. Clair. They had the big stores and things on the corners, and all that was torn up. They had the bowling alley and quite a few businesses, on 125th in St. Clair, and all that was destroyed. So, but I think it was 67.
67.
Or
It's asking me to ask you about fond memory. That
fun,
couldn't have been fond.
fun. No, no. Oh, did you say? Oh,
No,
fun.
no,
Oh,
we're looking for just
in
memories.
memories.
But now
Well,
we want to see if fond memories.
fond memories. Well, just we would have cookouts every Sunday. People, my family would come over and we would play games, and other people would come over, and that was fun.
How about your neighbors? Did they come over?
Yeah, well, my two Caucasians on each side of me, I was very friendly with them. You know, one neighbor, she would fix dinner for me, and she would do a lot of we would do a lot of handcrafts. And the other neighbor, on the other side of me, I would go over and, sit with her every time when I got off from work, sit over there for a while. And And then she would come over, and visit me for a while.
Okay.
So, yeah. But the people across the street, I didn't know them too well.
Any
But,
particular reason why?
well, I worked, and, I was in my house and they were in theirs. As I said, I'm not too outgoing.
Okay. 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 And you work downtown.
Yes, I worked for Casa Cleveland,
The castle. What's that?
Defense, Defense Contracts Administration Building.
DFAS.
Right, it's DFAS now, right.
I know DFAS.
Uh-huh.
Okay. In what ways has the city changed over time, and what do you think contributed to these changes?
Oh, well, where there were once Caucasians, there are now African Americans and other people, Puerto Ricans and Mexicans, and it's a potpourri of people now. Where it used to be mostly, Caucasians. And I guess the economy, we don't have enough, let's see, what you call it, businesses here in East Cleveland to have jobs for the people.
Now, when you say those, is there any particular reason why you think that change happened? That the Caucasians moved out, and that some of the businesses left?
Well, just like it is now, maybe the protection, they don't have enough, protection, and well, it's a known fact wherever African Americans move in, other people move out. Usually, that's the way. That's the way it goes.
You witnessed that.
Yes.
Can you tell us what that was like?
No. I,
It sounds like you were pretty good friends with your two neighbors.
yes.
So I mean, and you spent maybe a couple years with them
Yes.
before they moved out, or what?
Well, one passed away, and the other moved out because um, she didn't own the house, and the people that owned the house were her friends, and they said as long as she was living, she would have a place to live. But it didn't happen like that. She had to. She moved out. They sold the house, and she moved. She had to find a place. So she moved up to Euclid Beach, that apartment in Euclid Beach.
Okay. On
And,
your street, I know you said you basically had two friends.
uh,
And the one neighbor, she was actually renting. Were there many
Yeah.
renters, or were there many homeowners?
I think they were homeowners.
Most of them were homeowners?
Mm-hmm. Yes, they were. Mm-hmm.
Now, they sold the house.
Yes.
And do I dare ask who they sold the house to?
No. They sold it to African American.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And what about the other friend, the neighbor that passed?
She passed away. I think her smoke inhalation. I think the house caught a fire, and she
Okay.
died from that.
So what eventually happened to that house?
The house is still there. That's the only one that's next to me. That house is still what
They
I mean.
rebuilt it?
No. They didn't Oh, it didn't have that much damage done to it inside.
Okay.
And there have been other people who have lived in there. But
After she passed.
yes, she's been gone quite a few years, but there's been quite a few people in there.
Okay. And after her, what were the next residents of that house?
Guess. No, they were African Americans. And then there was a mixed couple there.
Thinking back,
Hmm.
how long would you say that this transformation took?
The city going.
How about your street?
Oh my. Let's see. Oh, at least 25 years, I'd say. It's been good.
25 years.
At least that going down.
Oh, okay. I mean the transformation from your street,
Hmm.
from when you moved in. You said it was you and one other African American.
Uh-huh.
How long did it take for your street to
Tri-
transform and the Caucasians to move
To
out?
move out.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, well, give it 20 years then, because it's been quite a while.
Yeah.
Been quite a while.
And you're still there,
Yes.
so you've seen it. You've seen the good East Cleveland,
Yes.
Shaker Heights, East Cleveland, and now what would you call it now? I love my city.
Let's see. Let's see. Well, it's still East Cleveland. It's still East Cleveland.
Okay.
It's still East.
We talked a lot about your neighbor and relations and the change in the city over time, and you gave us a good estimate of the number of years that it has taken to transform. As you watched it from an inside seat, can you tell us a little bit about that? I know you're talking about the fish market and different stores on Hayden and.
Yeah. Well, it just seems to have gone down. It did.
What do you think happened to the businesses?
I said they don't have protection, and then that's one thing, and I really couldn't. I really can't say what happened to them.
When you were living here in '67, did you shop a lot in the city? Did you do a lot of your spending here in the city?
I guess yes, I did.
Okay.
Hmm.
And then how did that change? So far as, let's say, this fish market,
Hmm.
what happened to the fish market?
Okay, they rerouted. Well, they redid Shaw Avenue, and a lot of the places that were there, was torn down. And the fish market was one. And then on the corner where the meat market, all that was torn down.
And the owners never rebuilt?
No. Well, there's where the meat market was, it's filling station or auto repair shop.
Okay.
Oh, there was the bank was there, and the movie show. The show was on Shaw and Hayden.
Did you go to the movies?
No, I never did.
No?
As I said, I never.
Did you bowl at the bowling alley?
No.
How about shop at the supermarket?
Oh, the shoe. Yes, I did.
What was that like compared to today?
It's the same. It's the same. Cause I didn't do too much shopping. My husband did most of the shopping. He would,
Okay, okay. Let's
Yeah.
let's move in a little bit about racism. How has race and racism impacted you personally, and how has it impacted the city of East Cleveland?
Well, being my age, I have, of course, seen a lot of prejudice and have experienced a lot. Um, as far as for East Cleveland, I don't know how to answer that.
Well, let's just talk a little bit
Did-
about racism.
Okay, what?
How 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 was your experience with racism?
Well, if you go to a nice, well, go to a department store, anything like that, you have the feeling that somebody's always, they follow you around, and even in these little stores now, you go to the store and you don't feel comfortable, you know, looking at stuff. There's always a hassle or something, and
You
it's
experienced a
very,
lot of that back in '67.
yeah. I mean, it's been prevalent, not just in '67, but still is prevalent.
Okay.
It still is.
How about on your
Mm.
street?
What, racism or what?
Hmm.
Ra-
Any of your neighbors
No,
make you feel uncomfortable?
no.
How about in government?
Oh, yeah, there was, yes.
Here in East Cleveland?
In, oh, you talking about, oh, I thought you were talking about at work or
Oh
in
yes, we're gonna get to work.
oh, oh.
We're gonna get to work.
Let's see, in government,
Or any of the social
so,
services here in Cleveland. Hospital, fire department, police.
police, mm, let's see, I don't know,
Well, how about work?
right,
Let's talk. We can come back to that.
okay,
How
okay.
about work? Tell us a little about race relations at
At
DFAS.
DFAS, oh, well, you know, the, who got promoted fast or first was the Caucasians. And then, well, it's the same old, same old. Just, they want to call you girl and, stuff like that. What did this fella call? He called me something, and I told him that, what my name is. And, I didn't, like the expression that he used. And, but I guess, it's the way of life. I mean, you just accepted it as the way of life. That's just the way it was. Yeah.
Trust me.
Huh?
After a while, you have to learn how to deal with it.
Deal with it, yes, and then, yeah.
Any other instances that really stick out in your mind around the issue of race and racism? Personally,
No,
or here
no,
in the city? I know you talked about the riots.
yeah, well, no, that didn't, no, it was just, I don't know, it didn't, I'm getting to, oh,
But you do acknowledge racism, not just here in East Cleveland, but in society
in society, yes,
at large.
yeah,
Thinking back through East Cleveland, as I know you said 20 to 25 years, the turn
okay,
in East Cleveland going down.
down,
Would you do you think racism has had its hand in that turn and then it going down?
yes, I think so, yeah. If there were more Caucasians here, there would be more work, done. They seem to care about hiring their own rather than, hiring other, a mixture of people. So, so I do think that racism has a lot to do with it going down.
Okay. Now in '67, when it was plenty of grass, the trees were blooming. Tell me about the makeup of the social services, of City Hall, of the fire department, of the store, and then you're saying it went down like this.
Yeah, well, I just wasn't too aware of it during that time. I wasn't really concerned about it. Let's put it that way.
Because it was working, don't. If it's not broke, don't.
Don't fix it. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna take a quick reset here.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Oh. Is it okay?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. We realize some of these questions are, they elicit a lot of different emotions in people.
Yeah.
So we try to take our time.
Okay.
To let you, recollect the memory and then your interpretation of events, past events. Racism, inequality. Mm-hmm. How has inequality impacted you personally? I know you touched on work and being not promoted or not spoken to in a way that you thought fit. So how has inequality impacted you personally?
Well, I guess it kind of made me lose a lot of self-esteem. And just let things be status quo. Just as, just not trying to do anything, different.
I know when I talk to, say for example, my mother, how she would say it like kind of made her tough or hard. Kind of like, I don't want to say attitude where she didn't care, but kind of like you said, kind of like, okay, that's what you asked me to do. That's it. Like, that's it. I'm just going to do what I'm told. That's no more, no less.
No, but no, it wasn't like that with me. My mother always taught us that no matter if you are right, no matter, stand your ground if you are right. And, if somebody says something different, don't back down. You never would, yeah, so, no, it did. I guess I always walked around with a chip on my shoulder, and
so inequality at work. How about in any other aspect of your life? Did you see inequality?
Work in let's see, school. That was in college, not too much in elementary school, but I went to Bowling Green State University, and at that time there were only about 13 African Americans there. And I can remember in a Spanish class we were learning the colors, and of course they had black there, and of course when they, when the instructor went around and named the colors, of course, negro. I was the one who had who they, who had to, well, say, negro.
Is that
So
what they call the color black?
black is negro. Yes.
Wow.
Mhm.
In school growing up, I don't remember that.
In Spanish,
Oh, okay.
Spanish.
I never took Spanish.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Ah,
Have you seen the beans negro? What?
yes, I
Negro.
have.
Okay,
Okay.
black bean.
So you
Black bean.
experienced a little of
That.
that in
Oh,
college.
yes.
Now you went to Cleveland schools. You didn't
Yes.
attend any East Cleveland schools,
No.
and then you were off to college. What did you
Mm.
study at Bowling Green?
Oh, I was liberal arts, Spanish, French, astronomy, English,
How many years did you attend?
too.
Okay.
Too.
What was life like at Bowling Green?
Oh, it was. Now that's where you saw all the inequality or the racism. It was a
Ah,
lot of racism there.
tell me something about that.
Well, there was no place for the African American people to, to go for entertainment, stuff like that. I think there was only one family that, the kids, the black kids could go to, to watch television and stuff like that. And, and of course, I must say, my roommate and I were the first blacks to get into the dance class, dance group. So, but it was it was a lot of racism.
Did you
A
live
lot.
on campus?
No, I didn't. I lived in a in a house
Okay.
with about 13 other young ladies. But it was fun though. But we just didn't have any place to go, for entertainment and stuff like that.
Extracurricular
Right.
activities. How were you treated in your dance classes?
Fine. Because we were the best dancers there. That's why.
Now, is that fine by way of students or fine by way of teachers and administrators, or both?
Uh, uh, both. Because one of our instructors was from, she taught at Caramoo, and I also danced there at Caramoo, so I knew her from she went to Bowling Green.
Okay.
What I mean is she taught at Bowling Green. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Can you recollect a memory or an instance when the community fought for something?
No. Let's see. Mm, I know there had to been some issues, but I, I can't think of any right now. Only the community fought for something. Only when the community fought against the mayors or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you know? Yeah. Uh, well, that.
You recall the old form of government?
No. Where they had the what you call them?
The called the
Com-
city commissioner.
City commissioners.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember that.
You don't
I
remember?
probably was here, but listen, I wasn't into all of that.
Okay.
That's
Okay. You were blessed enough to grow up and be good friends with Lou Stokes and Carl
yeah.
Stokes.
Mhm.
Excellent role
Yeah,
models.
yeah.
Yes. Of course, that's Cleveland politics.
That's right.
Okay. How have the surrounding institutions and cities impacted the city of East Cleveland?
Well, they had some good schools. Shaw was considered a very good school. And I used to do volunteer work at Chambers. They had the teacher of the year at one time. So I think they do pretty good.
You
The
volunteered
institute.
at Chambers on Shaw?
Yes.
Oh yeah. How
Yeah.
did that get started?
Well, I had retired, and I think after retiring, I stayed home doing nothing for maybe a couple of years, and then I finally went up to Chambers and asked if they needed any help, and they did. So I volunteered in the art department, and I stayed there until my great niece graduated from Chambers. So that was only about, I think she was 8. So that was about 4 years. That
Okay. What year did you retire, Max?
1985.
85. You retired from DFAS.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna call Chambers. I think they could probably use you.
Yeah. Oh,
Do
you
some
think so?
volunteer work. Our children need it.
Oh,
Right now.
yeah. Well, I wouldn't mind, but I volunteer at a hunger center now. So that takes up 4 days a week. So
The Hunger Center here in East Cleveland?
yes, New Covenant Church on Shaw and Hayden,
Nice.
across from where the library
Still
used to
good.
be. Yeah, right.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And that library is now closed.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chambers, 1985. You were volunteering
Mm.
somewhere around 85, maybe 86, 87.
Let's see. Yeah. Yes.
Can you tell us what the city was like then? Because I remember they had a swimming pool.
Yeah. Who?
Chambers. Did they have a swimming pool?
Uh, no. What? Yes, they did. Yeah.
By the football field.
Okay. But I never went in there. Yeah.
City was exciting.
It was. They had a skating rink, which I went to, and it was nice. It was fun.
East Cleveland is a lot of fun.
Fun, yes.
What did you like to do in East Cleveland? Over your many years here.
Just garden, and well, I was working all, for a while. I just garden. That's
Garden at your house?
Yes.
Are you involved in any of the community gardens now?
No. I haven't gotten into it yet,
Okay.
but maybe I will
Okay.
this year.
There's a lot of gardens in East Cleveland, a lot of organizations, county, that are looking to facilitate gardens
Garden.
because there's a push for fresh produce
Right.
in East Cleveland, because one of the chief complaints about East Cleveland is not having access to good grocery
Good
stores.
stores, right.
Yeah, which goes back to
Right.
some of the topics we were getting on earlier. So
Yeah.
there's opportunities to do some gardening. when you get ready for it.
Yeah. Well, see, I got a big yard.
Yeah.
I got a what you call it? A lot.
Okay.
So
Is that an add-on lot from one of the
yes, it's
deconstructions? Okay.
no, 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 it was with when I got the house. It
Okay.
was a lot that was there.
Okay.
So we
Okay. Because I know the city's trying to sell some of the buildings that they're breaking
they
in.
bring
They're trying to sell a lot, and they're people
oh,
whose houses are next to them. They're offering them.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Uh,
if you have a house that's torn down next to you, that lot may be something you're interested
uh,
in.
I got more than I can handle.
Okay. Institutions surrounding East Cleveland. Case Western Reserve, University Hospital,
Hmm.
Cleveland Clinic, General Electric.
Hmm.
Can you think of a way that these institutions have impacted East Cleveland, good or bad?
Yes, they have taken over houses, other people's homes, and building up, adding on to the hospitals and what have you. And the poor people, have to move out and find some other place to go. And that's it.
How do you feel that's impacted the city overall?
It would be discouraging, you know. Mm, I don't know.
I mean, you've certainly watched this city transform to
Yes.
where it is today. Were you familiar at all with the nursing school that was at Henry Road Hospital?
No.
Yeah, they had a nursing school there, and it
Oh,
pretty devastating to see
oh.
that go.
I think getting back to people my mother worked for. Um, Mr. Exline's daughter's father, Harry Biddle, he wrote the chemistry book that they used for nursing in the chemistry book that we used in high school.
Here, a guy that lives here in East Cleveland.
No, he lived in Shaker Heights.
Okay, okay.
but but you're talking about the nursing school. He wrote the book that they used at the nursing
How
school.
about that?
Yeah.
How about
Uh-huh.
that? Okay.
Mm.
Anything else about the institution? I know you say they've come in and they've take houses, they take valuable
Mm,
land, and they
yeah.
kind of. How does that make you feel about these surrounding institutions?
The money grabbers. uh,
Opportunists.
yeah. Um, well, that's it. Well, it would make me discouraged if I were younger and lived in that area that they have taken over. But everything is going up. What I mean, the buildings and add-ons and stuff like that. It would be very discouraging.
Okay. And along that line, they Cleveland Clinic basically traded the Stephanie Tubbs building for
But
Heron Road
here in Rhode,
Hospital.
right? Yeah, that.
I don't know about that trade.
No, 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 no. But here in Rhode was the only trauma hospital that we had here in East Cleveland. And if people get hurt, they can't go way out to go in Metro and all these, the outskirt hospitals.
Never make
In
it.
time they'll never make it. So that's something that would is very discouraging too.
How about the post office?
Well, they they're still there, but they're still there. And
That it's not the same facility.
no, because they only sell, well, they sell stamps and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just a store. They don't process any mail there. So the
They,
city actually lost that revenue, lost those income taxes.
you know, the post office used to be there on Euclid, near Huron Road Hospital,
It's
didn't it?
coming back now.
Yeah.
Stephanie Tubb, right across
Yeah,
from Wendy's.
right. Yeah. I think my brother was I think he was the first black, what do you call it?
Mailman?
Not mailman, the one, clerk,
Okay.
clerk in East Cleveland.
Wow.
Yeah, in that post office there.
The one on
Windermere,
Euclid?
yeah.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Wait, about what year was that?
Oh, let's see. Oh, the war was over in 19 what? The Second World War was over in 1940 what? 44,
I was going to say 45.
45. Well, maybe in 1950 or something like that.
Did you go and visit your brother at the post office?
No.
I bet you he has some exciting stories.
Yeah, he
about
he would
working
have.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You remember
Fri-
what was where Wendy's is at?
I know where. Yeah.
You know what was there?
No.
Okay. Used to
When?
be a movie theater.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Oh no, as I said,
Well,
it could.
I grew up on Elsinore,
Oh, okay. Oh.
so I have a little.
Yeah, because as I said, when I worked downtown, I'd come down St. Clair. Rarely did I come down Euclid, like that. So I
You
didn't know
catch the
too much.
bus to work, or did you?
Yes, I,
drive?
I caught the bus. Uh-huh.
How was that like? What was
Oh,
that like?
my way of life for me, because that's all I do is catch the bus.
How much did it cost back then?
About 25 cents.
How much is it now?
Well, for me, nada, nothing. But it's let's see, for seniors it's $2.50, I believe, one way. Then you $5 for two ways.
Yeah, it's $5. A lot has changed with the RTA. It was the
Oh,
CTS.
huh?
It used to be the
CTS, yes.
You remember that?
Oh yes, Cleveland Transit System, yes.
Okay.
I also remember when the streetcars used to go under under Superior Bridge down there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it used to go down
Underneath the bridge?
underneath it. Yeah.
And it would go down Superior?
Down.
Or would it still go towards University Circle?
No, it would go down Superior. Now, Superior, downtown. Now, this is downtown.
Okay.
You remember downtown? Okay.
Okay.
Superior Avenue, the Superior Bridge over downtown.
Ah.
Going to the west side.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Exactly. And where would that start at?
It would start about West 3rd, something like that.
And it would end where?
I really don't know.
Did it go up Superior, or did it stop like at that
No,
Superior?
it went all Superior Rap. Oh no. No, it started West 3rd and go all the way to probably to the airport or somewhere around there, or I know or the zoo that's out there.
Okay. It never came into East Cleveland.
Oh no, no, no.
I got you.
Mm-mm.
I got you.
And I can remember the zoo used to be across the street from University Hospital.
Over here?
Yeah.
Oh wow! I didn't.
There
know
used
that.
there used to be a zoo over there
Did you
before it
visit-
moved to West 25th.
Did you visit the zoo when it was here?
I don't think so.
How about Forest Hill Park?
Never.
It's a beautiful park.
I know Neela. We went to Neela Park though. We used to always go there to see the lights.
Oh, that's always something I say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thinking through the years and that slide that you talked about,
Mm-hmm.
what will be your vision for the future of East Cleveland?
New buildings, new businesses, and well, and people coming back into East Cleveland because there's so many vacant houses. But I think it's coming back.
What issues as a city or community need addressing in order to help with your vision for the city of East Cleveland?
Bring in some businesses that where we can get some revenue, money in. Uh, I I don't know.
What about the people? What about
Well,
schools?
well,
What about
well,
social services?
well, they can do better with the social, social services, especially. Now, I never have seen them on TV or the city council or anything like that, but they tell me they go at it like cats and dogs. I've never seen it before. And maybe get in some new council people. And, well, that, I don't know.
How about the children? I know you said you don't have any children, but you volunteered at Chambers.
Mm-hmm.
So, what would you say? I know when you first got here in '67, the children were Caucasian,
Yeah.
and then when you're volunteering, they were African
Yeah.
American,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're still African American. How do you? Are there any issues facing the children right now?
There are too many young people having children. They're just children themselves, and they haven't learned how to be parents. And the children are very unruly. They're not afraid of anything. And they have too many technical things, televisions, TVs, and iPods, and all iPads, and Facebooks, and all that kind of stuff. They have too much. They have too much too soon. They have nothing to appreciate. Really appreciate.
Sound like my mom would give
Oh
my
yeah.
mom
Oh yeah.
morals and values.
Right. They don't. They really don't. Because if there are 4 children in the house, each one got a phone or a television. It's not watching a family watching TV together. It's everybody got something different.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Family time.
Yeah, they don't. Or either sitting down eating together. Children don't eat together anymore. It's always something on the run or fast foods, but it's never where a family, a mother and father, or either, and the children sitting down eating together.
Okay. How can we help these children? What would be some of the issues, some of the things that we could address to help them?
Have, for the parents, have some place for them to go to learn how to to be parents. Or give them, some kind of incentive to work toward. And let them want for something. You know, don't give them everything that they ask for. Give them something that they might need, but not something they just want. The more you have, you know, the less appreciative you are. So, and teach the kids some values, you know, have them something, give them something to strive for. Or, let's see.
How about the city? I know you said the city needs businesses. What types of businesses, and how do you think we could help as a city help attract new businesses? What type of, as a city, what would we need to do? What are some of the issues that we would have to address in order to bring those businesses here?
First, let's see. Give them some protection. Let's see. That's what they need for one thing. And I don't know what.
Currently,
Good.
do you do a lot of your expenditures in East Cleveland?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have that many expenditures. Only bills,
Yes.
electric, gas, and stuff like that.
How about your
But
shopping needs, your
shopping.
personal items, food, groceries?
Well, food, yeah, in East Cleveland, but right, 100 Eddie Road. I do a lot of shopping at Family Dollar.
On Eddie Road?
Eddie Road in St. Clair.
Okay.
That's in Cleveland.
That's in Cleveland.
And then up here, Superior in what is that? That's Superior in is that Eddie Road too?
No,
Supe-
Superior.
Superior in Euclid. You know they have that little shopping area.
Yes, yes.
That's East. Yeah, that's
That's
East
East
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Okay, there is
I do a
a
lot of
grocery store there.
yes, and shoe store and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay.
I do quite a bit of shopping in it.
Okay. What would you be prepared to do to participate in making East Cleveland better? We talked again about that 20,
Turn.
25 year. Now, we wanted to go.
Oh yes, okay. I could volunteer in sort of be a big sister to some young lady, which I was. I've had 5 little sisters. So,
Okay.
or even you can volunteer at schools or what do you call it, tutor.
How about at the MLK Center?
Yeah.
You use any of the other city services? Like, do you use the Helen S. Brown at all?
Yes.
How do you like that?
Fine.
Okay.
That's what I do. I used to do line dancing up there.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now I'd like to bring in Jenny Joy to see if she has any follow-up questions for you.
Okay.
Hi, I just want to take an opportunity and just touch bases on some things that you had mentioned. When you mentioned that your mom worked at in East Cleveland at one of the homeowners' property, do you remember going there to the property, correct?
I remember just stopping in front of the property till she came out.
Okay, okay. Do you think at that time, what year was that guesstimate when your mother worked as a server there on the property?
Oh, let's see. Oh, I was about 10 or 11. Let's
10 or
see.
11.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Do you think at that time it was more people, servers for the homeowners in East Cleveland? Was that a normal position that people had, being a server at the people home at that time?
Yes, it was.
So that was no, what percent you think guesstimate that the homeowners was serving and being in the home?
What?
What what type of position did they have then at that time?
Oh, my mother?
Or
Uh, it,
any of the adults at that time? What were their position? Were they servers? Were they nurses? More
oh, okay.
nurses? More doctors? More teachers? More pastors? Back in the late '60s, early '70s.
You mean the homeowners? What were they?
No, the people in your mom age bracket. What did they
Oh,
do
okay.
in most cases?
They clean house or and babysat,
Was that
cooked.
prominent back then?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. So with those domestic services, some people use those services as businesses now, correct?
Yes.
It could be a business now.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what you mentioned too, you did take the bus at that time, and it has
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah.
Do you remember Windermere? Was that station the same back in the '60s and '70s like it is now? You know, it's nice and beautiful, and they remodeled it. Was that
Mm,
there then, the Windermere station?
it probably
Also,
was, but I didn't take the rapid at that time.
okay, okay,
I just used the bus system.
okay. But do you remember? Was it a rapid at that time? They call it a train now, and it's
It,
the Carl Stokes station.
yeah, it was a rapid. Yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
same type of style.
Yes.
Okay, and
The-
now they have the buses that go on the loop there, and people can
mm.
stand in the inside, and they have bus shelters. Is it the same setup, or do you remember
No,
at all?
no, it was not the same setup. They didn't have shelters or anything. You just stood out
Okay,
and waited for your bus.
then.
Mm.
And also, do you remember any of the prominent businesses that were in East Cleveland that you patronized?
No,
None of the businesses.
no. Only, as I said, Bondi's, the store,
Okay.
Davis, the bakery, and the fish store, Swain's fish store. I don't know what the meat market, who that was, but there was, I don't know whether it was Rite Aid or the drugstore, and that's just about all that I can remember.
So when you mentioned the fish, was it a fish market or just
It was a
store?
fish market,
Fish,
yeah.
where you purchased fresh fish.
Right.
Fresh fish.
Mm.
And also Davis Bakery was very well known.
Yes.
That people really had opportunity to smell
Yeah.
the the uh, the smelling of the bread and the donuts. And do you remember how long that particular Davis Bakery stayed there?
Just after the riot that I can remember.
Okay.
Or,
Okay.
wait a minute. It might be when they got started renovating Hayden Avenue. They tore down a lot of businesses. It might have been then. I don't really remember.
And also, I like your outfit today. That represent what for you? Is anything
Pride.
pride? When you say
Mm.
pride, explain more. What does it do for you, or what does it bring to you?
It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm giving homage to the people whose culture was taken away from them. So this is what I do, is what it is.
Do you make any of your outfits at all?
No, just create my hat is my pants were too long, and it's part of the extra material from my pants. I just fix that up.
Okay. When you mentioned at one point you stated colored people, then you switched over to African American people. And you mentioned in your neighborhood, do you say color because it was more used back in the 60s and 70s compared to now?
Yes, that's the reason. It was all it was colored people,
Okay.
and then it switched over to African Americans or Afro Americans, but preferably African Americans.
How do you feel about the young people now, meaning that they didn't know the richness of East Cleveland, how each Cleveland was a millionaire row, and the pride, because you mentioned when from East Cleveland felt like it was the Heights,
Mhm.
Shaker Heights, Cleveland Heights.
Mhm.
How do you feel about the teenagers now knowing the pride and using East Cleveland and putting it on the same high pedestal as Shaker and Cleveland Heights?
They don't know anything about uh, the pride that once was here. I don't think they do, because I don't come in contact with too many young people, per se.
When you was growing up, what was your perception of East Cleveland? Did you hear a lot of good things, or you
Yes.
felt it? What was the top three things that you can say was just a feeling that you had about East Cleveland growing up?
About the schools?
About the whole city itself?
The whole city? Mm.
Did you feel something about East Cleveland, or your parents told you about it, or you just seen the pride? When you say pride, in what perspective?
Well, the way they kept the homes, and the way the schools were run.
That's good. That's good. A couple more things. What was the nightlife here back in the 60s and 70s for adults? What was the nightlife?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
I don't.
Okay. No nightlife
No,
for
no,
you.
no,
No
no,
night.
no,
No nightlife. Your parents didn't go out to any of the nightlife places here in East Cleveland.
no. My parents didn't live in East Cleveland.
They lived
On let's see, 100 in 100 in St. Clair. That was the last where my mother lived,
okay.
and my dad. Um, I guess he lived on 100. Let's see, 129th, I guess, in St. Clair. So that was Cleveland. He never lived in East Cleveland.
And when you mentioned about Shaw High School,
Mm-hmm.
do you remember where the teenagers go to have fun? I know they had the bowling alley
And they had the skating rink.
skating ring, but was there any clubs or lounges in East Cleveland?
I don't know.
Okay.
Only they had the movie. Well, that was right there on Hayden, Shaw and Hayden. There was a movie there, a theater. Let's put it that way. Oh, and probably to the theater there on down the street there. There's the Playhouse. Their Playhouse, East Cleveland Playhouse.
Okay. That was very popular back in the day.
I imagine so.
Okay. Okay. And then you mentioned another thing. Where did the children go to play? What were the playground areas in East Cleveland?
I don't know.
Okay, okay, okay. So the children, the
'Cause
playground area, that wasn't one of your focus,
no,
correct?
because I was grown. I was grown when I moved in East Cleveland,
Okay.
and then I didn't have any children, so I didn't know any, much about the kids. Oh, as I said, I did have a little sister that lived on 134th Street, but I don't know where they went, other than where I took them to, different places.
You mentioned that you do participate in Helen S. Brown Center. What activities do you like to do when you go up to the Helen S. Brown Center?
Well, we'll have to clarify this because I only went up there for dancing, but I am interested in beading uh, and crafts. Let's do that.
Okay. So when you go to the line dances, is most of the people that are seniors?
Yes,
Okay. So it's a senior community center.
yes.
Okay. And when you mention beading and craft, is it classes that you bring your own items or they supply the items for you?
I believe you bring your own.
Okay.
Okay, can you hold on for 1 second?
Sure.
I just want to go in here. You're good. You're good.
So the beading and the craft, you learn a lot from going up to the Helen S. Brown Center?
No, Be- I haven't gone to a class there, but that's what I would be interested in if I went to a class. I have only gone to line dancing at Helen S. Brown,
Okay.
but I've sit in on beading class, but one class.
Two closing questions. I wanted to mention to you, you mentioned that you do or interested in gardening. Having a
Gardening,
right.
yes.
Do you have one did you have one that, what did you have in the garden?
I had veggies, tomatoes, pepper, um, I think broccoli. I think I had and cauliflower. Now hasn't been recent, and beans. That's vegetables.
Okay, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Now, when you had the garden, was it side, the back of your home,
No, it
side
was
of
the
your home?
side. It's
It
on the
was the
side.
side.
Uh-huh.
And you learned how to garden from where?
It was an um, innate. It just came natural, natural, natural. And from my mother. My mother's name was Flora, which means flower, and she did a lot of gardening and had plants and stuff.
Okay. Do you feel people do enough gardening now
No,
compared to back in the day? So
no,
you don't feel that they do?
they don't. But they're going to. They're starting
Okay.
since Miss uh, Obama is you know, there. She's getting people started in gardening again.
Does it seem like it make you happy to see that?
Yes,
It does make you
yes,
happy.
hmm,
Does make you happy to see that.
yes.
So would you be able to say that with the gardening that you had or now, would you, did you sell your items or was it just you use it personally?
Yeah, or give it away. Yes,
Okay. Okay.
shared.
Share it? Okay, okay. What was your favorite item that you,
I guess tomatoes,
okay,
the cherry tomatoes, or either the big boys. Yeah.
okay. And one closing question. When you mentioned your mom had the gardening and did plant, can you state from the late 60s to now, a lot of people do plant their own flowers in the front of their houses, and who had the best gardening on your street, or you would say?
I did. Because nobody else did it. I, I guess because I decorate for everything. got to find something now to put up for Valentine's Day. So, but I usually put, do the planting now.
To this day, you still
I still,
plant and garden.
And well, I didn't garden last year. First year I haven't gardened.
Why not?
Well, it's a long story.
Can you shorten it for me?
I just haven't had the energy to get out and garden.
But you wouldn't mind showing the young people what to do and how to do it.
No, I wouldn't.
What keeps you motivated?
I don't know. Just living. I don't know. Just volunteering and dancing and visiting family and friends and what have you. Not mostly family, but.
And if you want to say something to the young people nowadays to change their attitude that you've mentioned, and they not knowing a lot or being taught a lot in the family, what would you tell them?
Keep God in your life and always aim high.
Example of aiming high?
Oh, try to excel in whatever you do. Whatever your job is, try to be the best or do the best that you can.
That's simply put. I'm going to yield my time back to Mr. Brandon King.
Yeah, Ms. McBay, we'd really like to thank you. I wanted to redirect maybe a couple of different topics that you seem really, and I don't think I got enough of it. Yeah. Your siblings.
Yes.
They have any dealings with East Cleveland? I know one of them worked in East Cleveland.
Yes. My younger brother, he lived with me for a time. He's known in the artist world as C-Tae. That's C-E-T-A-E. He utilized the senior citizen privilege of going to school at age of 60, and he did sculpting, and some of it is shown, I think, at the library that's on 105th and Euclid, 107th and Euclid, that library. And what else?
107th and Euclid. That's Case?
No, it's on 107th is that Martin Luther King.
Okay.
Martin Luther King.
Okay.
That's about.
How about any of your other brothers? They have any, or your sister? They live in East Cleveland, work in East Cleveland. Another one worked in East Cleveland.
No.
Yeah, just you. You are the.
Just Now my older brother, he lived a couple of streets before he got to East Cleveland. He lived on 128, but he never did live in East Cleveland.
Okay, so they didn't do much so far as in East Cleveland.
No.
Work, play.
Mm-mm.
Okay. When Jenny Joy was asking you about your parents, I wanted to clarify. You said that your mother stayed on St. Clair?
Yes, 100 in St. Clair.
And your father stayed?
He stayed on about 129th. They were separated.
Okay. Okay.
But
at this time they were separated.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't separate until I was 19 years old.
Were you still living in the house then?
I was living in the projects, I believe.
You weren't living with them?
Oh, I was living with my mother. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I lived with my mother until she passed.
Okay. So they separated when you were 19.
Hmm.
Here's a question that's
Hmm.
pretty good. You were we were going over the different uh, black, then African American,
Colored. Hmm.
colored. How about the N word?
Never used in my house. Never use it. And it's I just hate hearing it. And when the kids, they call each other that name. And when somebody else calls them that name, they want to fight about it. But it's no difference
Okay.
in, oh, that's, oh,
Have you ever had any negative experiences with that growing up or as an adult?
mm, I probably have, but at my age, I must have, but, I just can't, whatever, it's thrown out my, out my memory. I don't, I can't remember being called that.
I remember the first time I was
You,
called it.
you, when I went to elementary school, I guess it was mostly blacks or African American, but um, that was the elementary school I started in. But the one I went from the second to the sixth grade, it was mostly Italians and blacks. And I didn't go to a segregated school more or less until I went to high school, which I went to Central High School, and that was all black. But junior high school was half and half.
How about college?
I said there was just about 13 blacks there.
Never any type of foul, like names being hurled at you
No,
or anything
no,
like
I
that.
really don't remember any. But I mean, just the action, just the actions and what have you. But I don't think I've ever heard them. I think I would have punched them out.
Bring out a different side of you
Yes,
then, huh?
yes.
You mentioned the New Covenant Church and you do volunteering down there. Are you a member of New Covenant?
No, I'm not.
Okay, you just volunteer with the
Volunteer
food
there.
pantry.
25 years.
25 years with the food pantry?
Yeah,
And not a member of the church?
right. Well, that's a Lutheran church, and my leaning is toward Baptist or Methodist, one of the two.
Okay. You attend, you mind me asking what church you're a
N-
member of?
None.
None?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Certainly you visited uh,
All
East
of,
Cleveland
all
churches.
of them, all of them
East Cleveland.
in East Cleveland. I think I attended the one on Alder for years, but stopped.
Well, you got a fair woman. That's
I know.
yeah. Do you mind if I ask you? We talked a lot about volunteering and how to help the youth, and
Mm.
but I was just I
Hmm.
can't help but wonder, you yourself, why haven't you had any kids?
I wasn't able to.
Um, I'm sorry to hear that.
That, right. I went through a tube, transplant and everything, but it never happened. Wasn't meant to be.
Adoption wasn't an option for you.
No, no. And at least my husband, he had two children, but he never thought about, never wanted to adopt.
Okay.
So
Did his children live with you, or they lived with their mother?
mm-mm. They live with their mother. Mm-hmm.
Miss McBay, is there anything else that you'd like to leave on your tape? Any thoughts,
Uh,
words of wisdom, blessings that you would have for the Social Justice Institute or for East Cleveland as we move East
mhm.
Cleveland back up to a heights
Well,
status?
just like the phoenix, they will rise again.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Keep trying.
yeah. Just keep on with new personnel in administration, and maybe that might help.
Have to try to get you active. Get you involved. Hear your
I,
voice.
I don't know.
Okay, Miss McBay, we'd like to thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Quite welcome.